Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the MrWarrenHayes Show. I, of course, am Mr. Warren Hayes, and we are gathered here this evening to talk about professional wrestling, the wild, wacky, worrisome sometimes world of professional wrestling, and we're going to do it. We are going to do it in the most amazing way possible, as a group, as a gang, as a bunch of people who are passionate about it and just like to talk about it in all its glories and all of its not so glories or something. Hey, it is September 17, 2020. It's a Thursday evening, recording live here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes, because yes, indeed, the Mr. Warren Hayes Show is recorded live, which means that we are joined live by a bunch of people hanging out in a live chat who have decided to come over here, chat about wrestling as I chat about wrestling. It is the most mind-blowing thing. And the people we have here, these are all faces, names that we recognize. Tim Traver is here. Good to see you, Tim. Robert Larry as well. Kelly Tonjes, hello. Good to see you as well. DGMC is in the house as well. We've got Ben Parise, who's here too. We got Robert Sterling, who jumped in. Good to see you. Thomas Gories is here as well. Aaron Entertainment, good to see you as well. Sengir Vampire Tom has joined us as well. Carlos is here. Nikki, look at all these fine people. I think my levels are a little high. Hey, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay to have high levels on a Thursday night. High levels of energy. Anakin, how you doing? Welcome to the chat. It's good to have high levels of energy when you're doing the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, because the Mr. Warren Hayes Show is recorded live. And if you're watching right now, consider giving the video a thumbs up. If you're watching on your own time, consider giving the video a thumbs up. Maybe you're listening to it on your favorite podcast application. Consider giving a review, a like, a subscribe, anything that you can do to show some love. It's silly. It really, really is silly. But that kind of stuff really helps out a lot and shows a lot of it really is an easy, super easy way to show support for the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. It's wonderful, and it just takes a click and it's done, and it does help out a lot. So I appreciate it in advance if you do show some form of love there as well. Also, there's the chat here that happens every Thursday night. But if you want to continue interacting with the Mr. Warren Hayes Show community, or maybe you can't show up on Thursday nights live and you want to talk about professional wrestling with some very cool folks, I have a Discord set up. Nice Discord server for the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. Head on over there. There's a lot of regulars from the Thursday night live chat who are over there, so you know it's a quality Discord. Head on over there. The link is in the description. Boom, nailed it. Boom, nailed it. I said link in the description. I didn't screw it around. I didn't say descriptions in the link or something like that. That's been my MO for the past few weeks. I did it. So the link for the Discord is in the description. And join in. It's fantastic. Everyone congregates when there's live shows to watch them together. It's a good time. And whether you're AEW, WWE, New Japan, GCW, it doesn't matter. Just come on over. That's fantastic. Another thing you should come over to is the post show. There's a Mr. Warren Hayes post stream that happens immediately when I'm done with the main stream right here on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes. For patrons only, members who, for Power Pal tier members over at patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes. First of all, it's a great way to show support for the show and what I do here. Plus, you get access to the post stream, where we sit around, we chat, and I also take calls from patrons who want to join in the live discussion, and you get to hear their voices, you get to talk. So that's fantastic as well. Tonight we're going to be talking about the brand split. Isn't even worth something. We might even get off track of wrestling a little bit tonight. Might talk about the PlayStation 5. That's something that kind of happened too. I think the Xbox had a reveal too. We can talk, all sorts of discussions are possible. So there's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of good stuff to talk about. Join us on the post show, patrons only, patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes. That's a great way to show support. You can also become a member of this channel by going to the main channel page, youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes, and join. It's a great way to show support, especially if you like to come and watch the shows live. Then you get access to exclusive emojis just for you, so you can do that. That's another great way to show support. And of course, another great way to show support is to drop a super chat. As if on cue, drop a super chat during anytime during the show, and I will read your question or comment here live on the air. And Aaron Entertainment left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Aaron. He says, should do a whole segment in a retribution voice. Well, maybe not a whole segment, but in honor of Retribution becoming lamer and lamer by the week, I have decided tonight, and by the way, thank you very much for the super chat, Aaron Entertainment. I have decided tonight that I am going to read all future super chats in the voice of a member of Retribution. So let's go right ahead and do it as a member of Retribution for the next few super chats that we have, such as
from Tim Traver, who says, "It's raining here. I'm where I'm at, but Warren will fix it. Just hose me down with wrestling." Well, the locusts of contempt, thank you very much for your super chat, Tim Traver. We also have another super chat from Anakin JNT. Thank you, Anakin. It says, "Just sharing for the record, Jeremy Lambert cheats at Uno." Well, we know that because he seeps into the pores of all good players of Uno. And Anakin left us another super chat as well. He says, "Too bad Warren didn't start the stream early again." Thank you,
I guess. Thank you, Anakin, for the super chat. Here's the thing. The early stream. I started the stream early. If you watch the Fightful Wednesday Night Wars podcast last night, I started the stream inadvertently. Don't ask me how I did it, but I did it. I started it early. There you go. This is it. That's what happened. So that's all I'm going to say about it. But we managed. We got out of it fine. It was good. It was okay. And it was all okay. We all had a good laugh about it. But now we got to get serious. Now we really got to get serious. It's time to start with the weekly wrestling inspection. All right, let's go straight into our first element of discussion. We're going to get some cool beans going here first and foremost. Jay White versus Jeff Cobb was a match that happened for us last Friday on New Japan Strong, which airs Friday nights on New Japan World. And this was for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship right to challenge contract. So Jay White won the New Japan Cup US tournament and has the briefcase. Wait a minute, wasn't it? I'm confused. Hang on a second. Yeah, that's it. No, it wasn't Jay White. It was Kenta who won it. But this is a right. It was Kenta. It wasn't Jay White. Why am I talking about? I have Jay White on the brain clearly because I'm excited for the G1. It was Kenta. I apologize. It was Kenta versus Jeff Cobb, and this was for the right to challenge contract, and it was really, really good. It was a good, strong match, and Kenta did Kenta things. He's fantastic. He's such a good natural heel. Jeff Cobb fought from beneath, which is a weird thing to do when you're a big guy like Jeff Cobb, but Kenta was using his brain essentially to make things happen, right? To make sure that everything was okay for him. Breaking down Jeff Cobb's, attacking his legs, mostly with kicks and so on and so forth. there was a couple of points where I was convinced, absolutely convinced, that Jeff Cobb was going to win the contract, the briefcase, basically to challenge for the IWGP US Championship. But wow, it didn't quite happen like that. But it was a good match. It was good and strong. Now they're both heading into the G1, and that's exciting. I'm looking forward to, which is good because, like I said last week when we were talking about the G1, you know, it's good that they're getting people overseas back into Japan. That's really good stuff. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the G1. And look, just to wrap this one up, because the G1 starts tomorrow, folks, or during the night, right? Or something. It starts on the 19th. Sorry. So it does start like tomorrow in Japan, but in 2 days. Look, it's this close. There's some of you, by the time you're listening to this, it's already started. Anywho, we're doing great so far, guys. There's 3 things. If you want to hear my predictions for the G1, I did a show on Sunday with my former Blazer Bros, the retired JPQ and the retired Anthony Suter from Smart to Death, and JPQ, of course, from No Particular Angle podcast. We did our predictions, so if you want to hear my extended thoughts on what I expect to happen, and John and Anthony as well, go check it out. It was a good time. We had a really, really good time doing it. I love talking G1 with those guys. But there's 3 things that I'm expecting to see happen over the course of the G1. And here I'm going to just summarize them very, very simply. Shingo Takagi wins Block A. And he's going to tie Kota Ibushi. But he's going to win because he'll have the win over Ibushi. But they're going to have the same amount of points at the end, and he's going to have the tiebreaker and move on to the finals. I don't think Will Ospreay is going to have as good a tournament as a lot of people are expecting him to have, mainly because he's establishing himself as a heavyweight this year, right? So I don't think they're going to go all in on him and being like, yeah, this is the year that he explodes. I think they're going to take this year to establish him as a heavyweight star, still have him have big matches, good competitive matches, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to go he's not going to go all the way on it. Not going to be as strong as a lot of people are expecting. And I'm saying this aside from whatever thoughts I may have regarding Will Ospreay and whatever controversies he's involved in, because I don't think they have an impact in New Japan booking. I don't think New Japan cares about that stuff. That's a discussion for another time. But I don't think he's going to have that great a tournament. Well, he's going to have a good tournament, but not as great as people expect. And the third thing I'm expecting is power struggle at the top of Bullet Club. Jay White is in Block A. In my opinion, the real leader. That's how I think. That's why I think. And then in Block B, you have Evil and Kenta. Evil, who sort of took leadership by interim, and Kenta's a top figure there as well. So I think there's going to be stuff happening there. It'll be interesting to see who gets involved in whose shenanigans, because Bullet Club matches always have those types of shenanigans. It'll be interesting to see who gets involved where. I think there's going to be some lines that are going to be drawn. This is going to start there. Before we move on, we have a super chat from Nick Wolf. And thank you very much, Nick. His super chat reads, hashtag Tai Chi for semis. Thank you for your contemptful super chat, Nick Wolf. Tai Chi is not making it to the semis, Nick. What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. But, I guess, if you want to be on a team, and you can pick whatever team you want. You can be on the losing team. We have another super chat from Evan Wright, who says, Okada versus Ibushi, Cobb versus Suzuki, Shingo versus Jay White on Saturday. Hose me down, please. Thank you, Evan, for your super chats. I'm having a little too much fun with this. But yeah, this is what we're getting just on Saturday. We could argue that these aren't even some of the biggest matches that we're going to get in Block A. Block A is ridiculous. There's like 14 first-time matches in that block alone. Jeff Cobb has like 5. He's going to be fighting 5 guys for the first time in that block. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be such a good time. Want to say hello to Throwback, who just jumped into the chat. Good to see you. Good to see you, Throwback. Hope you're doing well. And we have another
super chat from Evan Wright. Thank you again, Evan. Your super chats are seeping into the pores of the MrWarrenHayes show. He says, Mom, get me my Hot Pockets from the microwave.
I'm assuming y'all wanted that to clip it or something. or something like that. So there you go. So so G1 starts this weekend. Goodbye, my regular sleep schedule. This is just how things are gonna have to go from now on. Let's keep going with some cool beans. Let's keep that going because cool beans are cool, right?
Oh yeah.
We have
we have a super chat from Peter Davies. Thank you very much, Peter, for the super chat. It reads, I recommend Tam Nakano versus Julia from Stardom 5 GP. They beat the heck out of each other. Super stiff. Was awesome. Thank you very much for the super chat.
And thank you very much for the really good recommendation. That's really, really, I've heard tremendously good things about the 5-star GP this year from JPQ, who is a huge Joshi fan, and he's always talking about it at me, because I can't really contribute. I'm familiar, but I don't really watch, but I heard great things about the 5-star GP this year. Thank you very much, Peter, for the super chat. All right, cool beans. We're keeping it going. We're keeping the train rolling. I'm really, really digging the dynamic between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso that they're setting up. I think it's good. Look, the story that they set up at the start, with King Corbin and Sheamus being fed to them to build up their feud. That's okay. What the butt mud is what Jey Uso referred to them as. It was fine, but I like the little detail that happened at this opening promo, which was really, really good. What I really enjoyed was, when Jey Uso did the butt mud comment and then threw down his microphone to beat up the heels. You could that's the babyface move, right? Where you drop down and then you go off on the heels. But Roman Reigns just stood there. He wasn't doing the babyface stuff, right? He was just like, no. And so Jey took them out, and of course Jey fought the majority of the match in a handicap, their tag team match at the end, and Roman Reigns basically has he's essentially having the Brock Lesnar spot where he just comes in at the end and he tags in and he wins, and I like it. I dig it. I'm enjoying this so far. I think it's a good dynamic, and I'm very interested to see how this match is going to go at Clash of Champions. It should be a lot of fun. Continuing down the Cool Beans track, we're going to talk about Bayley's explanation for taking out Sasha Banks. I loved it. I'm going to tell you, and I mentioned this last week, and I'm going to mention it again this week. 5 years ago, you would have told me, hey, Sasha and Bayley are still going to be feuding, but Bayley's going to be the absolute worst heel, and Sasha's going to be a babyface, and I'd be telling you to fuck off. Bayley's too much of a babyface already, and Sasha's so great as a heel, but look at where we are. Bayley is doing, again, fantastic work. This was such a great promo. She says that she's one step ahead of Sasha. She knows Sasha better than anyone, right? That's the thing. So she knows, or she knew, Sasha was using her to get success or to get towards a title. And she showed that she was aware of all the antics and, you know, the glares and the covetous side eyes that Sasha was giving her, and the titles, and it's fantastic. And yes, a lot of people out on Twitter compared this promo to an Eddie Guerrero promo where Eddie pulls out a chair and sits down. And I think that's what they were indeed going for. I think that's exactly what they were channeling there, because let's not forget, Sasha Banks has on multiple occasions, numerous occasions, has mentioned that Eddie Guerrero is her biggest inspiration. So, of course, Bayley in this position would take a little backhanded jab like that. And I know that's not a jab, that's more like a stabbing motion. What I'm doing here, this would be a jab, this is a stab, but they rhyme. But listen, and in the meantime, you know, I know we're getting Bayley versus Nikki Cross at Clash of Champions, and it's a soft defense for Bayley, more defense padding while waiting for Sasha to return. But I'm going to tell you guys, and I'm not going to go off on a tangent yet, not tonight. We're still going to give it some time to go. But I will tell you this: I kind of feel like we're painting ourselves, when I say we, I mean WWE is painting themselves into a corner again in regards to challengers for titles. Because if they didn't see anyone else on SmackDown that was credible enough to challenge for Bayley's title outside of Nikki Cross, there was clearly a problem. There was clearly a problem. I mean, you saw the match that they had on SmackDown. I mean, Lacey Evans and Tamina didn't need to have an extended one-on-one engagement there. And again, I'm going to tell you, how long has Lacey Evans been up on main now? Like over a full year, right? And if she's not improving more than she is right now, there's a problem. And Tamina's not going to improve. She's hit her ceiling. Her knees have been repaired. Like, she's not going to get better. Tamina's what she is, but Lacey Evans hasn't grown as a performer, and she's still sloppy on the same fundamentals as about a year ago. So why aren't they pushing Naomi? You could make an argument. You could say perhaps that maybe they wanted to lean into Sonya Deville, which doesn't make sense because Sonya is a heel, Bayley's a heel, but still. And then the whole thing happened with Sonya. Maybe that threw a wrench in their plans. But anyway, in any respect, it's a soft defense here while heading over to oh my goodness, Tamina! I forgot to do that. I'm sorry, chat. I apologize. I really apologize. How can I say her name without saying Tamina? Let's dole out some hot trash though before we go on. Here's the thing. Mandy Rhodes has been traded to Raw, right? She's apparently been traded. Well, she's on Raw. They announced it on Raw this week, but they left Otis behind. There's nothing on Otis. Otis is like boop boop boop. He's back to wrestling with his pal Tucky, and they're apparently, you know, they're doubling down on him on SmackDown and doing this goofy stuff with the briefcase. Anyway, why would WWE end this angle? Why would they just pull the plug out of the romantic story between Otis and Mandy without anything, without any kind of resolution or moving forward or whatnot? I don't understand. I don't get it. There could be so many. they could have worked it into SmackDown where they're being torn apart, where Mandy's like, I've been called over to Raw, I don't know what to do, and they have a tearful goodbye where Otis says, you have to follow your opportunities, follow your dream, my little peach, we'll our hearts will be one again someday. Anything. They could have had Otis go on a rage, just tossing catering around, beating up people because of the injustice that was done here. His girlfriend, his love, his peach, his little peach, his Mandy, his little Mandy peach, his teeny Mandy peach was taken away from him and tossed over to Raw. But they didn't do any of that. Arguably, they didn't bring a proper resolution to what is arguably the best wrestling storyline that WWE has done over the past year. We can argue about it. It's a hill I'm willing to die on. But this one was so well done, elevated so many people at once. It was well crafted, masterfully executed. It was good shit, pal. They could have gone down so many typical tropey ways, but they didn't. And now they're deciding to pull the plug on it without giving us a proper resolution to this. Again, WWE not giving a shit as to whether or not you watch the program or not. I'm going to talk about myself. Me, as a viewer, am not rewarded for watching week after week after week of WWE. Again, I'm being told whatever you've been doing with us, it doesn't matter because we're moving on, and whatever happened here, we'll probably pull it out when it's convenient. And it's the same thing. Week after week, when they do 3-4 minute recaps of stuff that happened just a week ago, or 2-minute recaps on stuff that happened just about an hour ago. It's like I'm watching. And there was a time in pro wrestling where these recaps within the show, this happened moments ago, was logical because people were flipping between Raw and Nitro every 15 minutes. So you wanted to captivate the audience that switched over. So look what happened while you were watching the other program kind of thing. Now, there is no reason to do it, or at least not as frequently. It's not as if WWE's Monday and Friday night numbers are captivating such a large new audience. They're not dragging new people in by doing these recaps. It insults our intelligence, and it shows disrespect to their audience. It's contemptful. It's contempt.
It is the locusts of contempt.
It's contemptful for the audience who is watching and who is tuning in for the programming every single week to have this stuff happen. I was invested in Mandy and Otis. Why suddenly aren't they a thing anymore? At least give me the dignity. Do us the solid, right? To at the very least, bring some kind, tie it together. Bring it to some kind of resolution. That is what is most frustrating about WWE and most enjoyable about AEW is that AEW trusts that you are smart enough to follow what they're doing. It's pro wrestling, guys. It's not that hard. Read some Kierkegaard and then come back and tell me which is simpler to follow. Go and read fucking Ulysses by James Joyce and then watch pro wrestling and tell me that you can't follow what's going on in a 3-hour show on a Monday night. Got a couple of super chats here.
Throwback 27 left us a very generous super chat. Thank you very much, Throwback, for the super chat. He says, watching the football game, listening to the show. That's good. That is very good. Do you think Sasha being in The Mandalorian is going to add some flavor to their story? Should be interesting. They add that. Can't wait for the 26th.
I know Throwback can't wait for the 26th because he is going to be on my prediction show for a Clash of the Champions. I'm just dropping that as a bit of newsy news. That being said, my guess, WWE, Vince has said this before. WWE feels like they're competing with Disney, right? I don't think they're going to add it to a storyline per se. You know, I don't think that's going to, there might be some cross promotion when the show appears on Disney Plus, which is going to be in November, right? Because The Mandalorian starts back like on the 30th or the 31st, something, and her episodes are going to be a little more down the line. So November, maybe December. Yeah, I don't think they're going to necessarily tie it in. It doesn't add anything to their story. This is going to be a grudge match. They don't need bells and whistles for Sasha and Bayley at this point. Sasha's just going to want to beat the shit out of Bayley, and Bayley's going to want to beat the shit out of her back. That's really all we need.
Nick Wolf left us a super chat. Thank you, Nick. Says, where's she going? Both are in the Thunderdome. Kayfabe.
That's actually an excellent point, talking about Mandy and Otis. It's not as if they're it's not as if they're changing countries, right? That's crazy. You're absolutely right. Like it's still the same place. Maybe that's why they feel, oh, well, we don't have to, you know. That's true. Maybe that's why they feel that they don't have to justify it. Well, we'll see. You know, we'll see what happens. But that actually does make a bit of sense here. So let's get off of the hot trash. Let's go back to some cool beans. Cedric Alexander versus Ricochet on Monday night was a lot of fun. And I like Cedric coming in and giving some proper explanations for turning on his pals and basically saying, I'm doing it for my job. Yeah. I'm a professional. I'm a professional fighter. I'm here to make money. You know, that's essentially it. And I'm okay with that. And if anything, it makes Cedric more relatable to me. Because you're a pro, of course you're going to want to sidle up to those who are successful and are offering you opportunities to be successful. You're hanging out with your pals, getting your ass kicked every week. To me, it all makes sense. But this was a good match. No shocker there. And I'm going to tell you guys, how long has MVP been in the company? Or has he been back? 6 months? Something like 5-6 months? If you had told me, I think a little longer than that, 9 months. If you had told me when MVP jumped back on TV, and I remember my reaction was like, really? You know, okay, interesting. If you had told me back then that MVP would be an important part of one of the best reasons to watch Monday Night Raw, I would have laughed at you. It was like, not with Aleister Black around, not with Ricochet, not with, Kevin Owens. And yet here we are. Credit is due to WWE Creative on this one. They did a good job establishing the Hurt Business. And because it's elevated, again, a whole bunch of people. It's given Shelton Benjamin purpose, who's been floundering since coming back 3 years ago now, I think. They've done jack shit with him. And now there's even some shine with Alexander, and they're credible. They look good. It works. It's a great stable. And Bobby Lashley, it's put Bobby Lashley back in a position that he's never really been in since returning to WWE after his Impact run. The closest that he's been this interesting was when he was hanging out with Leo Rush. But this is better. It's really good. The Hurt Business is turning into some of the best moments on Raw. It's some of the most compelling story they have. I'm not saying that they did this, that this was long-term planning, but they managed the creative aspect of this very, very well. I really like what they're doing here. I really do. I think it's good stuff. Timothy Farley of Armbar Audio. It's good to see you, pal. Welcome to the stream. Take a little sip here, and we are going to read a super chat
from Anakin JMT. Thank you very much for another super chat, Anakin. Coming back to talking about that locust of content, Sasha Banks. He says, if Sasha is Sabine Wren, she should be a big character in Mandalorian. Hopefully, it'll be a better season than last. Because you don't want the Mandalorian to seep through your pores.
I don't know. I liked the first season of The Mandalorian. I liked how they mixed, because it was all a journey of discovery. Discovering this part of the Star Wars universe that we're not all familiar with, establishing a lot of lore, a lot of characters. Personally, I dug it. I thought it was fantastic. I'm going to resub to Disney Plus just to watch the next show. Okay, we'll get to your super chat in a bit, Evan. And since we're just to make sure that we're clear here, we're gonna give some hot trash. Retribution is still extremely lame and is getting lamer every week. This is the status update of Retribution. They haven't started unmasking. They haven't started it's clear now. And one of them is Dominic Dijakovic. Cool. But they haven't started any revelations. There's nothing new to the story here. And now apparently there's more of them. Is the whole Performance Center a part of Retribution? Is this like the Performance Center fighting back against WWE because they took over the PC for a while and no one had any spaces to train? Look. Oh, and don't get me started on the camera cuts and the wibbly wobbly back and forth on Monday during their final segment. That was gross. That was disgusting. I know that in Kevin Dunn's mind, or whoever's producing these days, we always blame Kevin Dunn because he's the executive, but there's underlings, right? There's other people who make decisions. Whoever decides that numerous camera cuts and shaky cam and wavy cameras help establish action, has never watched a proper movie, has never been to film school, doesn't understand how to shoot for television, because that shit made me nauseous. I play video games at 60 frames per second. I've played shooters, I've played Overwatch, all sorts of stuff like that, where you're moving around constantly. I don't get that seasick when I play first-person shooters. That was horrible. It was hard to watch, made me nauseous. They have to stop this shit. It does not make the product better. It doesn't make it more interesting, doesn't make it more dramatic, climactic, whatever you want to call it. It's really, really bad. But the thing here that I want to add about Retribution, and this is something I've talked about before, but I think it bears repeating once again, this is your typical WWE storytelling where they have the impression that the story's moving forward, but in reality, it's been in place for weeks now. Storytelling is simple. There's an event at point A that takes you to an event from point V to bring you to another event to point C, so that you have story progression, so that you can go from point A to point B to point C. So WWE has this habit of giving us point A going to point B, and then that's really excited. But then week after week, they keep giving us the same point B, point B, point B. So the story really never advances. Nothing has advanced in regards to Retribution. We haven't learned any identities. They're manifestos, whatever. They're just words. The locusts of contempt and all that stuff that I've been making fun of during the super chat. That's all. It's all rubbish. It's garbage. It doesn't mean anything. So why are we doing this? So why is WWE thinking that this is actually interesting that this is a good show. It's not. And it's wearing thin on us, the viewers, because nothing is happening. And now we just groan and moan when they pop out because there's nothing interesting happening. There hasn't been anything interesting happening for weeks. But you sort of feel like you have to point it out because it's retribution. More cool beans. Let's pull them up here. Shotzi Blackheart versus Io Shirai last night on NXT was by far one of my favorite matches. Well, it was one of my top 3 matches last night on Wednesday. This and match of the night on NXT. This match ruled so hard. The story here was that Shotzi was ready for Io. Like she had studied, she had watched the tape, she was ready to go. And she does some incredible stuff, like when she gets that wrist control early on Io, and she ties her up with her legs, then sort of rolls through, starts pulling back on the arm at the same time. Fantastic stuff. Butterfly suplex into a bridge, then reverses that bridge into an underhook submission. Fucking awesome. Shotzi had her best performance to date in WWE. It was outstanding. Io, of course, held her own, and you can definitely make an argument saying, and to the fact that, oh well, Shotzi had a great match because of course she was with Io Shirai, and Io could carry a wet paper bag to a good match. Sure, I agree with that, but to a certain extent, because if you're familiar with Shotzi's indie work, you'll know that what she's capable of doing. And I don't care how good of a wrestler you are to carry someone. That butterfly suplex reversed into a butterfly submission, or the arm lock that I talked about with her legs, that you don't get carried for. That's technique. That's know-how. Shit was good, friend. It was really, really good. I like this. Fantastic. This is the kind of match where I'm like, go out of your way to watch it. This was really, 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 really good. And another cool beans that I'm going to give you, that we're going to give here tonight on NXT, Kushida getting a push. Kushida, push powers, go. Make it happen. He's been with the company for 18 months. He was brought in with fanfare, and he's been sidelined. Push Kushida. Have him snap all the arms of all the problematic wrestlers in WWE. Because he did Velveteen Dream, he did Austin Theory. Let's go! Let's put Matt Riddle in there. Let's have him snap all the arms. Kushida is our paladin of justice. Paladin? Depends how you pronounce it. I pronounce it paladin, and he's lawful good. He's out to take out the scum of WWE. I dig it. I am okay with this. I like the fact that they're pushing him, and commentary was going, but he's so aggressive. Jesus Christ, you've never watched him wrestle in New Japan. Go back and watch him. Best of Super Juniors, couple of like in 2012, 2013. You're in for a treat. Then you'll be like, oh wait, he is usually much more aggressive than what we do here in WWE. So there you go. I'm excited for it. Bring me more Kushida pushes. I am 100% okay with that.
Aaron Entertainment left us a super chat. Thank you, Aaron Entertainment. He says, Shotzi could easily be the top woman wrestler on NXT or main roster. Can wrestle, has personality, charisma. With fans, she could be more over.
I agree. That's all I'm going to say. It's not all I'm going to say, but I completely concur. She has all the tools that WWE really, really likes in a top tier woman. They really do. Sometimes I worry that the gimmick is a little too much of a gimmick. And then when she ends up on main, they'll be like, oh, what do we do with Tank? It's that kind of stuff. But she's so good, and she's so natural at it, and she can work. Again, the women's division in NXT is not a problem. Hasn't been a problem for a while. Okay, let's start talking about AEW Dynamite. let's just go ahead and talk about the main event. Santana and Ortiz versus Best Friends in that parking lot brawl. Jesus Christ. Have you guys seen it? Have you seen it? It's one of my favorite matches of the year. Unquestionably. This was so good. So incredibly good. And it didn't take much artifice, right? They did the whole setup with the cars all around and having the in a circle and having the fight happen in the middle. It didn't take too many bells and whistles. Just let crazy ass creative wrestlers put on a great plunder match, and look at what we got. Look at what we got. We had plyboard and a door. We had sledgehammers being thrown through windshields. We had hidden batons. We had suplexes on guardrails, spears through doors. We had Santana being crushed under the hood of a car while Chucky T and Trent did sentons. We had Chucky suplexing suplexing Ortiz on top of a car, and then Santana flies off the top of another car to splash Chucky on top of that car. We had Trent Beretta get slammed into a windshield. He a double power bomb, a shield bomb, onto a windshield. His back was busted open. And the thing is that there was psychology to all of this. It wasn't just random shit. This all worked because they had been built. This was the blow-off match, and it felt like a blow-off match, and it acted. It acted as a blow-off. This was a grudge match between two teams that was been building for weeks. They just wanted to beat the shit out of each other, and God damn it, that's what they did, and they did it to our pleasure, to our great joy. My God, I love this match so goddamn much. Orange Cassidy pops out of a trunk of a car to Superman punch Santana. It had it all. It even had Sue at the end in her minivan because the Best Friends won. They got into the minivan. Sue flipping off everyone. Now, a lot of people are worried about Santana and Ortiz because Santana and Ortiz, and I will agree with this, haven't been booked to their LAX levels of aggression, right? I remember when they came in, everyone was like, these guys are nuts. What a great get from AEW. And then they get paired with, they get put in the inner circle and they become a little bit of a comedy act. But look at here. All they have to do is sort of switch gears and have them get their edge back. And now they've been tweeting out like, okay, we learned something. Now we're coming to get ours. If we get the aggressive, bloodthirsty, violent LAX era of Santana and Ortiz, which we should, because that's what we love them for, it's going to be a treat. And what happened last night, nobody looked bad last night. That was fucking amazing. And boy, oh boy, they have to be sore this morning. I'm really excited to see. What's going to happen next in this situation here.
Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you, Evan. He says, Chuck unlocking the trunk and Orange Cassidy popping out sent me. This match was everything I needed. Match of the year contender for me. AEW ruled. AEW was a very good show last night. It seeped into all the pores of all the fans of wrestling.
It was really good last night. It honestly was really, really good. And I loved it too. For me, it's one of my favorite matches this year, bar none. This was great, great stuff. If you haven't seen it, please go ahead and check it out. Thank you very much, Evan, for the super chat.
Timothy Farley of Armbar Audio left us a super chat as well. Thank you very much, Timothy. He says, are we going to see a Kyle O'Reilly singles run in NXT?
Yeah, I mean, because there's a bit of a fractioning, right? We don't know what's going on exactly with Undisputed Era, but yeah, we did see Kyle O'Reilly, sort of break up a fight. And I can hope so, because Kyle O'Reilly is one of the most understated great wrestlers they have in WWE. He's one of their best workers. He is absolutely. I love watching Kyle O'Reilly wrestle every time he's in the ring. So I can only hope that they might pull the trigger and give us a bit of a singles run, even if it's to feed him to Tommaso Ciampa. I don't care, because the match that we're going to get out of Ciampa and Kyle O'Reilly is going to be chef's kiss, cordon bleu. Trust me on that. Trust me, please. I am a wrestling pundit on the internet.
Evan Wright left us another super chat. Thank you, Evan. Thank you very much for all your super chats so far. With the Dark Order recruiting Anna Jay recently, and Sean Dean on Twitter wanting to become number 7, this faction is awesome to me. Thoughts overall?
We've talked about Dark Order quite frequently here on the show, and especially how the gimmick wasn't quite picking up, and then how they rehabilitated it a few months ago, and now like it's full blown working. Like this, the whole thing is over right now, and it's over for a bunch of reasons. They recentered, they pivoted a lot of stuff, focusing on Brody Lee as the leader. That helps out a lot. I'm gonna tell you, the BTE segments, they're helping people online, hardcore fans get to know them and appreciate them more. Even members that we don't get to see wrestle all that much on Dynamite, like John Silver, who is clearly the greatest beneficiary of all the BTE nonsense, right? I think they're doing a fantastic job with the Dark Order. It's not quite as spooky or creepy as they had planned it to be, no doubt, but that's what you do when you have a gimmick that's sort of uneven like that. You pull the trigger and you try something else. All the more power to AEW. All the more power to AEW on that one.
Anakin left us a super chat. Thank you again, Anakin. He says Sean Rossap is actually interviewing Sue tomorrow live on Select, which should be amazing. Thank you for the super
chat. I think the only way that interview has to end is for her to give us her cookie recipe and her brownies recipe. Let's get some warm soda here. We're going to talk about the Thunder Rosa Ivelisse match, which I'm warm sodaing it because of what we learned earlier today. The match in and about itself last night was a strong one. Like, my God, they're laying into each other. It's such a strong match, just hitting each other really, really hard. And I was like, hey, they're going full strong style New Japan on us. But it turns out that Ivelisse and Thunder Rosa sort of got into it backstage, and they were shooting live rounds. This match turned into a shoot, folks. Ivelisse just stopped cooperating, and Thunder Rosa was potatoing her to try and get her to cooperate, and it just wasn't pretty. A lot of stuff backstage apparently went down, and I'm very curious to see what's going to happen next. I talked to Ivelisse this week I talked to her on Monday for Bell to Bells. I did an audio interview with her, talking about her opportunities and how this is a big moment for her in her 16-year career. And I was happy for her because she has had ups and downs. She's never had a reputation as being someone easy to work with. She was at the Performance Center. She was in NXT FCW for a while, but her contract was not renewed, and the rumors that she was one of the first people to go to management regarding Matt Bloom, and she was not Matt Bloom, excuse me, Hugh Morris. His real name is popping out of I can't think of his real name right now, but who was training at the PC at the time, and who would eventually get fired. This is unfortunately not the first time we hear something like this regarding Ivelisse. She is her own worst enemy. And I was very, very hopeful, because the thing is, It's crazy. She is so talented. She is so very, very talented. And yet she's unable to just stay in these good positions. There's always something that happens. And it just breaks my heart. Thank you. It's Bill DeMott. Thank you, chat. Absolutely. Thank you very much. I don't know. Look, that's the thing. I wish her the best. I really do. I really do. I really wish her the best. But what a mess this turned out to be. Hopefully everything gets sorted out, because there's another match coming up. We'll see how all this goes. And yeah, I'm gonna say hello to the Tim and Joel Call It in the Ring podcast. Good to see you guys, and Mr. Fretz as well. And that, folks, is how we are going to end this week's weekly wrestling inspection. Remember, if you're watching live right now, you can leave us a super chat, and I will read your question or comment on the air as a member of Retribution. I'm just enjoying myself tonight. What can I tell you? What can I tell you guys? But yes, so that's all that. And don't forget, post stream after as well, patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes. Once we're done here, taking calls from patrons. If you want to become a member, it's a good time to go in, jump, join, support, love. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. So thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for sticking around and still listening even to this point.
Yeah.
Evan Wright just left us a super chat.
Thank you, Evan Wright, again. Thank you very much. He says, Mox, hyping up Will Hobbs was amazing. Excited AF.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Will Hobbs a little bit, but I'm running long on time, and there's a couple of other things I want to talk about before we end. But what a great couple of weeks for Will Hobbs. Seriously. I mean, just skimming over it, he's an AEW Dark standout, has a breakthrough performance at the Casino Battle Royal, and now he's tossed into this big, super hot angle. Are you kidding me? That's fantastic for him, and fantastic on AEW to double down on some of their talent, like actually building talent. Hats off. That's great stuff. I as well am excited. Unfortunately, we had to cut the Hobbs talk tonight, unfortunately, but I'm pretty sure we'll have another opportunity to talk about it. I mean, he's probably put in the 6-man tag match next week to take the pin, which is fine. It's such a good opportunity for him. Great couple of weeks for the lad. I'm really happy for him. All right. We have to talk about the Matt Riddle stuff. I mean, it's hard being a wrestling pundit these days and not have to address these situations here. It's not necessarily fun stuff. It's not the fun part of wrestling that we all enjoy, but it's still happening. And in case you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, if you haven't been keeping up, or if you don't hang out on Twitter as much as I do, Matt Riddle recently attempted to get a restraining order against Candy Cartwright, real name Samantha Tavel, who accused him of sexually assaulting her while they were having an affair. This has been in the works a long time, or at least the rumors have been going around for a while. And she came forth with these allegations during the Speaking Out movement earlier this summer. The affair started in 2017. They tried to break it off in 2018. But they went back at it again. But they attempted a definitive breakup in 2019. And this is where, according to Riddle, the stalking and harassment began, where Cartwright or Tavel started, that's it, basically stalking Riddle. So Riddle, but it turns out that Riddle filed a notice of voluntary dismissal 36 hours after putting in his restraining order. basically to drop the case 36 hours after. And in the restraining order, we know what the restraining order is, what was in these files, because now it's all public record. He was using as grounds to request the restraining order, that the grounds were that she had committed stalking, previously threatened, harassed, stalked, cyber stalked, or physically abused Riddle, threatened to harm him or his family members or individuals closely associated with him, used or threatened to use any weapons such as guns or knives against him, and she destroyed personal property, including but not limited to telephones, other communications equipment, clothing, and other items belonging to Riddle. Now, we're talking about this today, and I have to give the proper shout out here. Oh, and I'm also going to say hello to Kristen Ashley, who just popped in, first woman of the first woman too of the MrWarrenHayes show. Good to see you, Kristen. But so the me too. I want to give the proper shout out here before we continue. If we're talking about this today, it is because of the work of David Bixenspan, who put this all together, who got all the court documents together and created the timeline and put together the story so that we could learn about what happened. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of reporters in wrestling, right? A lot of them. But as far as journalists go, people who are willing to go the extra mile just to bring the truth out of a situation and without taking things at face value and really digging deep, investigating, David Bixenspan is on a completely different planet than completely different planet. Absolutely. If you don't follow him on Twitter, find him. You have to follow Bix. He's fantastic, and he's really he's the only guy who does this kind of stuff. He's absolutely amazing. Now the problem that comes out of this, one of the reasons why, now the question was, why was the petition for the restraining order, or why was the restraining order request petition for release 36 hours after it was put in? Tavel's lawyer looked at the request and just tore it apart, essentially. She went down piece by piece, demonstrating that there was nothing really of value here to obtain a restraining order. That if it went to court, then it went to a hearing, it'd just be smashed into pieces. Basically, Riddle and his lawyer didn't offer any proof of his allegations, and even that some of the exhibits that were presented contradicted the allegations. There's there's a bunch of stuff out there, like regarding tweets and text messages. Now there's this whole thing over Cartwright or Tavel, that she would have tweeted out Lisa Riddle's phone number on a screenshot. She would have basically put her phone number out on the internet. And that would have been one of the grounds for harassment and so on and so forth. And she did, but she deleted the tweet, but the number did end up being public on the internet. Now, I myself, very personally, regardless of who you are and what you do, I don't think there is any room for doxing on the internet, putting personal information from anyone on the internet, their phone number, their street address, their birth date. There's a reason why there's things that are public record, because our systems, our judicial systems, our social systems ensure that this information is treated properly. If you just go putting all sorts of personal information on the internet, that's just willy-nilly and it's nonsense. So there's no place, regardless, to dox people. But in this case here, the fact that that Tavel tweeted out the number, then deleted it, makes us understand that she didn't do it maliciously, that there probably wasn't like a a plan to want to harass here. So all of this was sort of broken down, and his lawyer, who's kind of become one of the biggest running jokes on the internet right now, at least on wrestling Twitter, Daniel J. Rose, Matt Riddle's lawyer, tweeted this out. He tweeted out a statement after Bix's report. This is what, and I'm going to read it because it's something. It says, on July 14, 2020, our client Matthew Riddle, oh, and by the way, he tweeted this statement. He tweeted it out. He put the statement on Twitter and made an added Matt Riddle's account. Like, what the fuck? That's not how you do. That's not how you put out a statement regarding a lawsuit. Or court proceedings, whatever. You put out a proper release through proper channels, and then you tweet out the fact that you put out a release and you link to it. You don't put a tweet out. I mean, it's amateur hour, folks. Anyway, on July 14, 2020, our client Matthew Riddle only sought a cyber stalking injunction from Samantha Tivell. That's not true. The court set it for here. I'm sorry, he can't write. The court set it for hearing as they found probable cause for the matter to be heard. It was represented to our client and our firm that Ms. Tivell had moved on with her life, and our client would no longer need to continue with the cyber stalking injunction. What the fuck does that even mean? She moved on with her life. She didn't move on with her life. She was talking about, he came after her with this suit here. So, turns out, we understood that she moved on with her life. No, Tivell's lawyer said, you guys put out all these allegations that we destroyed shit, that we were threatening people with weapons, and you have no proof. You have no proof at all of any of this. So that's why they retracted. Our client then dismissed the cyber stalking injunction without prejudice, which left all of his legal remedies open and allowed for closure. Today, our client has elected to file a civil suit against Ms. Tivell for her continued false and defamatory statements that our client sexually assaulted her. No further statements will be made on social media on this matter at this time. I hope to hell they won't, because they shouldn't. Daniel, keep you and your boy far away from any kind of public appearance at this point, because you guys are awful. Now, it was only for cyber stalking. No, it wasn't. The deposition that was put down, the request that was put down for the restraining order, I committed stalking, threatened physical harm, weapons, destroyed stuff. He wanted to block her from physically coming in contact with her. So it's not just a cyber stalking case. And he didn't drop it because she moved on. That's also bullshit. Now, you have them here saying that they're, and by the way, here's something that's really interesting as well. In his deposition, Riddle said that he wanted to bar her from the performance center, right? He wanted to bar her from the performance center, but not his home. And that's something that Tivell's lawyer was like, why does he want her? If he was really fearful for his life, he would bar her from his home address, but now it's just like from his workplace. So he's clearly not in fear of his life, or she's not really stalking him or whatever. He just wants to mess with her, essentially. So it's such nonsense. Anyway, so now they're going after her, suing her for defamation. They better have proof, because in American law, you need to have proof of her making stuff up. That's the thing. You can't prove, he can't even prove that she was stalking him. How is he going to prove that she is purposefully making stuff up about him? People tweeting mean things at him is not defamation. That's not it, though. That's crazy. And so this one's not done. But the thing is that Matt Riddle looks guiltier now than he was. Like, in the minds of a lot of people, their mind is made up. If he decides to go to court, or at least enter proceedings to try and protect himself, but doesn't have the proof to back up his claims, and they're messing with the system like they are, well, they're like, this is not helping him at all. He didn't look good to begin with, and it's looking worse now. And I'll be very curious to see how all of this turns out, but my God, what a shit show. And my God, Matt Riddle, with the amount of money that he makes, why couldn't he have hired a proper lawyer instead of fucking Harvey Birdman, attorney at law? For real, though. It's ridiculous at the bungling that this guy's doing. It's absurd. And no, I've talked with people about it. I don't see why WWE would get involved in this, because people are like, well, WWE should just throw their lawyers at him. WWE doesn't want to touch this. They don't want to get involved in this, especially considering that there's a lot of this stuff that happened before Riddle was under their employment. They don't want to get involved in this. This is a stain. They don't need more of this. They're already harboring Velveteen Dream and trying to keep him away from us so that we'll forget about him. Keep sending Kushida after him, though. It's quite a story. Continue following. Go follow Bix on Twitter. I'm going to continue seeing how this is going to. I'm going to continue seeing how this develops. I'm going to keep an eye on it. It's really good stuff. A couple of super chats
here. Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you, Evan. Again, he says his lawyer printing docs on labels was hilarious.
It actually was. Bix pointed out that a lot of his documents were like on labels and scanned documents, while Tavel's lawyer was all had PDFs and everything was super clean. Jesus. But thank you for the super chat.
Anakin JNT left us a super chat again. Thank you very much, Anakin, for all your super chats tonight. Says David Bixenspan is to wrestling journalism what Jason Schreier is to video game journalism, a true investigative journalist and professional.
I've got nothing to say but good things about Bix. Nothing to say but good things about him.
Anakin left us another super chat. Thank you very much again, Anakin, and a generous one. Thank you. He says, my divorce attorney was way cheaper than Riddle's lawyer, and I'm pretty sure he could run legal circles around him and embarrass him much more than she embarrassed my ex, which is saying something.
Well, we'll have to take your word on a lot of this, Anakin. But yeah, I mean, it's baffling just how much of. I'm willing to bet. Nah, maybe not bet, but my gut says this guy's an ambulance chaser, This is like a big Hollywood case, kind of, I don't know. This is just me goofing at this point, but I don't know. It's weird. It's just weird. I want to say hello to Tommy Wiegand, who arrived just in time, folks, because we're going to have a little fun tonight talking about Matt Riddle and all this stuff. Now it's time to have a little fun. It's time. We're going to do some tiers. We're going to do some AEW tag team tiering. Let's pull this up right here. Check this out. All right, let's listen to the theme song again. There we go. It's such a groovy theme song. Tonight I wanted to end the show by doing a little something fun, doing something different that I haven't done here before. We're going to do some tiers. I'm going to tier the tag team division in AEW as of today. As of absolutely today. So I've got all the tag teams set up here, all 17 current active tag teams in AEW, and I'm going to tier them from S to D. And what are my criteria? What's my criteria? A good question. I'm glad you asked. Why am I on what grounds am I deciding to do this? Well, I don't know. Look, do I like the tag team? Are they talented? Do I like them? That's a criteria. Are they talented? Do they put on good matches? How's their push going these days? Do they win more than they lose? So on and so forth. It's a tier. It's subjective. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this is the most objective list ever done. We're just having a chat. We're having some discussion. And then if you guys would like to make your own AEW tag team tiers, the link to this template here over on tiermaker.com is available in the description. So you can click that description, make your own tiers, share them with me, share them on Twitter, come join the Discord. We'll have a chat about it. Everything is set up. You don't even have to upload any pictures. The template is there. You can use it. Let's go right ahead. Let's start tiering this list. And we are going to start right here with FTR, Dax and Cash. Fantastic fellows. We love them. I think they are really one of the best tag teams in the world right now. The thing is that I don't think we've seen their full potential yet in AEW, but they have delivered some really fantastic matches, and they're bringing their style, their very grounded style with them in AEW. So as far as I'm concerned, they're an A-tier team for real. They're really one of the best. I just don't think that right now in AEW we've seen everything that they have to give us. But we're close. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. And yes, chat, please tier along with us. Go right ahead. Show me how wrong, or especially how right I am in my picks. Next, we've got the Dark Order here, but the Dark Order being Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, the original guys, Super Smash Bros. If you've watched the show before, you know how much I am a fan of Stu and Grayson. I absolutely love the guys, and I think they're a fantastic team. In regards to their AEW status right now, I'm going to put them on a B tier. They're such a good tag team, and I think we're starting to see glimpses of how good they are. They haven't really had a time to shine, but they've been having more frequent matches, and they're winning, and they're looking so good. If I were to just look back at their indie career, I'd say instant A. For real, because they really are that good. But in AEW right now, they're rebuilding themselves. We're getting to know them better, and their matches are starting to feel like SSB matches. You know, I'm excited to see where this goes. But right now, Uno and Stu, they're on the B tier. How about Luther and Serpentico, the Chaos Project, newly formed team? I forgot to mention before we go on. There's an asterisk here. I didn't add Kenny Omega and Adam Page because right now I think we have to consider that they're separated. That they're not a tag team anymore, and I'm doing this as of today. I haven't added the Initiative because it's the same thing as well. They're infighting, not quite sure. I think they're going to come back around and be a team again, but as it stands right now, it's sort of iffy, so I prefer not to put them in there. And 5 and 10 of the Dark Order apparently have started officially being a tag team, but they've only had one match together. Don't think they were officially a tag team on Dark yet. So as it stands, I'm going to wait a bit. Maybe down the line we'll get to add them, but that's why I didn't add them in. So I forgot to mention the caveats. That's why there's a couple of tag teams missing here. So back to Chaos Project. That's a D. Their job is to be on Dark right now, or if they're going to be on Dynamite, it'll be to job out to other teams. Serpentico, I think, has a lot to offer. There's nothing like working and getting some exposure. Good on him. Next is the Young Bucks. Well, I mean, honest to God, I really, and I don't want to sound like a mark, but I really think that the Young Bucks are one of the absolute greatest tag teams of all time. For all the criticism that they get for doing the flippy shit, no selling, no psychology, they can spin around and have matches that prove their detractors wrong. Absolutely, absolutely wrong. They're able to wrestle more grounded matches, more that adapts to their opponent. They're able to have great psychology in their matches as well. I mean, it's hard. It's hard not to consider them as one of the top teams in the world. They are absolute S-tier material. I love them so much. Next, we have Bad Romance, Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. Recent tag team doing some good stuff together. They've been losing a lot, for sure, But what a great pairing, and they're so captivating together. And I think if it wasn't for the strength of their personalities, their charisma, they'd be a D level. I think they'd be on a D tier, but they're so engaging and people look forward to seeing them wrestle. They have to rack up some wins. They have to get some big wins. That match that they had versus Jericho and Hager a couple of weeks ago was surprisingly good. There's a lot of potential to come out of them, and they're stars. They're on the main roster. They're a C. They're still going to be fodder, but they're going to be the kind of fodder that you care about. Best friends I'm going to place them right up here in the A level, and I think it's hard to deny just how great best friends have been over the past few months since the start of 2020. They've had one of the best winning records in AEW. Trent is uncorking things that a lot of us didn't quite maybe remember that he could do, or just didn't know that he could. He's fantastic. Chucky T just keeps surprising us, and they're able to mix this goofiness, the comedy bits, but with that wrestling authenticity when it's time to go as well. And they've had fantastic matches. Last night is one of these that just puts you over for the year. They're so close to being really one of the best teams in the world. If they can keep up the momentum moving forward. I mean, maybe next year when we do this tier in a couple of months, we'll have to bump them up. But they're so close. The Gun Club, Billy Gunn and Austin Gunn, they're on the D squad. It's really that simple. I don't think Austin Gunn is ready for prime time. I think he's still too green, and Billy is Billy, whatever. Their role right now is to be fed. And between you and me, you and y'all, all of us, I'm gonna tell you, our boy Austin Gunn, not a fan. I think he's very generic. Yeah. I mean, he still has time to develop, don't get me wrong, but he's very generic. He kind of comes across as a douchebag. So, there's that going against him in my book. But we'll see what happens, right? I mean, for now, they're definitely on the D side.
Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you, Evan. Says, best friends versus Omega Nakazawa is so underrated.
And I would even say criminally forgotten. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Evan, for reminding us. That was a really, really good match. That was a really good match. The Butcher and the Blade. The Blade and the Butcher. They've had ups and downs, but they are a very, very solid tag team. And they're very, very good. And I feel like, again, this is a team that's on the cusp of revealing some great things to us. They've had good matches. They have a bit of a losing record, but they had that great match with the Bucks, that fantastic arena match that they had. They're great. They're really, really good. But I think that because of how they've been booked so far, and especially with their losing record, I think they're a C team, not because they're not talented. I think that right now, as far as perception goes, their push and so on and so forth, they're not all that high just yet. I'm looking at what's going on in the chat, and I feel like I'm being a little harsh maybe on some of the teams regarding, but hey, this is just, feel free to create your own teams and stuff it down my throat. Jack Evans and Angelico, the Hybrid 2. This is another team that breaks my heart, but I'm going to put on the D team. And they shouldn't be. They're too good to be there, but they're afterthoughts. They're really underused. They're used to boost other teams. And especially in the case of Jack Evans, I think Jack Evans is one of the most talented guys they have on the roster. But right now, they're not doing anything with them. They're sort of just laying them out there and letting them be float around and come out and do their goofy stuff and then lose. They No, they have good matches. I changed my mind. I'm going to put them on C because the matches that they have are good. I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to prop them up to C. Sometimes just talking it through, and I'm like, no, they've had good matches despite being in losing efforts. They're C level for now. But my goodness, they could definitely grow. They could definitely grow. Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. I'm going to drop them right here in a C. Because I'm not excited about this pairing. I think I'm kind of wondering why. I kind of wonder why they're doing this outside of maybe just Jericho being used to give Hager some rub. That's probably the only reason why they've decided to lean into this. Not super excited about it. They've had a couple of strong matches. Of course, they're going to win matches. I also think it's kind of strange that in this sea of excellent tag teams that you'd pair two singles guys together to add them to an already stacked division. But hey, fantastic. But I mean, we'll see where they go. But as it stands right now, I don't think it's all that interesting or exciting a prospect. We'll see how it goes. Keep it at C for now. Jurassic Express, one of the AEW mainstays. What a great tag team. I'm going to put them on the B tier, and I think this is mostly due to their record overall. I can't wait for Jurassic Express to be taken seriously as a tag team. I really, that's what I'm most excited for. Because for the better part of their run in AEW, they were top babyface team, but losing matches, never really pulling out the big one. And we've seen Jungle Boy in singles matches, and my God, Jungle Boy shines so much. They're a good tag team, but there's tighter knit tag teams in this series here. They're consistent, they're good, fun to watch, always excited to see a Jurassic Express match. I think they're comfy in the B tier right now. Private Party, this might be controversial, but I'm going to put them on the C tier. I don't know if it's that controversial, but I'm putting them on the C tier. I've talked about it a couple of times on the show. Private Party is a team that has lost a lot of luster. I feel that they've become sloppier. Although I feel like over the last couple of matches that we've seen from them, they're tightening their ship a little bit. But for a large part of 2020, I find that they weren't necessarily. First of all, they weren't in winning efforts, and they had got a little sloppy, quite frankly. It's not doing it for me right now, and I feel that they can do better. Maybe they were pushed too quickly. I don't know what the deal is, but hey, good for them. They'll be comfy in the C tier. Now here's one that I have to talk out a bit. QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes. Like they're technically a lower tier team, right? But they haven't had a bad match together. They've been fed, but they're also involved in big angles. Dustin can go. QT has surprised us in more than one occasion. I think I'm going to put them in the B tier. Is that what I think? Because they're a team that created an attachment with the audience. Again, nobody says, "Oh no, not these guys." I don't think really. It's not like they don't have go away heat with anyone. But I mean, they're not bad. They get fed. They get fed to other teams, but they're not bad wrestlers. And I think they do have legitimate crowd support behind them as well. Of course, it's difficult to gauge these days because we don't have a Thunderdome in AEW, if you know what I mean. Santana and Ortiz, I am putting them back up there on the A level because of last night's match and the last few months. Because if they were still stuck in this inner circle goofiness, they'd probably be lower. But they have started to return to form, becoming aggressive. divesting themselves a little bit of the ridiculousness, and with the performances that they've been putting on, especially with last night and with what's to come, I feel that they're back on their game. These guys are talented. These guys are so good at what they do. And I feel that it was just a question of finding the right time to push them. Boom, there it is. This is it. This is where they belong. This is really, absolutely where they belong. SCU, I don't know exactly who we should. Well, I think we should consider. It was hard to find just a picture of Kazarian and Daniels, because I think that's what SCU, the tag team, is going to be like these days. Because you kind of feel like they're going hard on. Scorpio Sky as a singles competitor. So I kind of feel like they're going to stick with SCU as Kazarian and Daniels. And if that's the combination that they're going to go with, I think we have to put them on the C level. Despite them being first AEW tag team champions, nothing has really come positively for SCU over the past few months. They're fantastic workers, don't get me wrong, but my goodness, Daniels and Kazarian together, I don't think I don't think that's where they should be.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that I don't feel like Kazarian and Daniels are at a position right now, or in a position to really have an impact. I think they're being used to enhance other talents. I don't want to call them enhancement talents because that's not what they are, but I do feel that there's a little bit of that's going on right now. And they feel C level right now, if you ask me. Silver and Reynolds, my God, another team from the second team from the Dark Order. They're so good, right? They're so good. Funny. BTE skits are great, but they really are a D-level team. And until and that's their role, that's their job. If you don't consider what they do in being the elite, you sort of look at them here and you're like, well, who are these guys exactly? If we feel attached to these guys, it's because of the BTE skits. Outside of that, they're just a couple of jobber teams, a couple of jobber guys. And that's okay. That's okay. I really think John Silver is going to break out, but I don't think anytime soon. Not just yet.
Anakin JMT left us a super chat. Thank you, Anakin. As I'm still doing the gimmick. Quality of their all-in match alone puts Jurassic Express A tier for me.
I agree. It was a very, very good match. It was a really, really good match. But it's so hard to disregard their losing record and their lack of push despite being so over with the audience. It's a weird one. That's the thing, is that they're super good. They're a very, very talented team. There's just a lot of factors mushing around in my head. And finally, we have the Lucha Bros, who I think right now are a solid B team because they're not doing anything with them, essentially. Curious to see where they're going to go with the Eddie Kingston stuff. But even before COVID hit, Pentagon and Phoenix were being jobbed out. If we're being honest, they didn't have that great a record. I think they're a B tier team right now, just because of the way they're booked. There you have it, folks. That's my tier right now. Again, this isn't necessarily a tier that says these wrestlers suck. I don't think, maybe outside of Austin Gunn, who I feel is a little green, there's no one here who is awful at professional wrestling. These are all very, very talented gentlemen that are on this list. This doesn't remove anything to the quality of the tag team division. This is just how I feel the rank right now as far as their importance, their talent, what they're doing, how they're being pushed. But I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not just because the C tier is so full that these are all terrible tag teams. Not with Butcher and the Blade and TH2 there. There's other reasons for their positioning there that has that's outside of their skill set. So, Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you very much, Evan.
Evan says, now tier list the WWE tag teams, LOL. If we tier the tag teams in WWE, it'll be a 3-minute segment. Locust of contempt.
So, so this is what you can do now. Like I said, in the description, there's the link to the tier maker template. So go right in there, make your own tier list, share it with me. Share it with me on Twitter, or come join the Discord. The link to the Discord is in there as well. Come and join us as well. It's fantastic stuff. We'll have a good time. Everyone has a good time hanging around the Mr. Warren Hayes show peeps. Should I start calling it a community? I don't know, but there's a lot of cool people who gravitate around the stuff that I put out there. So come join us, and this will be a good conversation starter, right? Everyone likes discussing tiers. It's fun things to do. So, folks, we are going to wrap this up again this week for the Mr. Warren Hayes show. I want to thank you all for those of you who joined us live and stuck with me to the very end. Did you give the video a thumbs up? Hey, give the video a thumbs up if you did. And Nick Wolf left us a super chat. I get to use this.
Hello, once again. Nick Wolf left us a super chat. Thank you, Nick Wolf. He says, you want a 1-minute segment? Do the New Japan tag team. Locusts.
But you're right, though. It's like nothing. But thank you very much for the super chat. Thank you, everyone who donated super chats during the course of the evening. Evan Wright, Nick Wolf, Anakin. You guys were very, very generous. Thank you very, very much. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, everyone, listening on your favorite podcast platform, application, whatever you want to call it. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next week, right? And otherwise, head on over to Patreon for the post stream that's going to start in a couple of minutes. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.